Okay, today we're going to do Unit 3, Notes number 10, which is writing recursive rules. So, yesterday we talked about writing the sequence from the recursive rule. Now we're going to write the recursive rule from the sequence. So let's start off with a little review. If you remember, for our arithmetic recursive rule, we have our a sub 1, which will state our first term. And then our d value, which will be on the end, will be our common difference. Each time the common difference is going to be added to the previous term to get the next term. So whenever we're writing our recursive rule, number 1, you will be given the formula in the test. You just have to know what numbers to plug in where. You'll have to find your first term, which will be pretty easy, and then you'll have to find your common difference or ratio. Okay, the other one we have is our geometric. So the g sub 1 is our first term. And then our r value, which is right before the g, is our common ratio. So with our geometric, each time the previous term is multiplied by the common ratio to get the next term. So for our geometric, we'll have to identify the first term and then identify our common ratio and remember where they are plugged into the formula. Okay, let's go down. So what we're going to do on each of these is we're going to identify whether it's arithmetic or geometric, identify the first term, and then identify the common ratio or difference. We're then going to plug it into our rule. So the first one, we go from 5 to 8 to 11 to 14. We're adding by 3. Since we're adding by 3, it's arithmetic. Our first term is 5. Our common difference is plus 3. So we're going to plug in our a sub 1 is 5. And then we're going to have plus 3 on the end. So you're going to have to write this entire thing. But if you know where to plug in the numbers, you should be good. Okay, going on to the next one. We go from 1 to 5 to 25 to 125. We're multiplying by 5. So this is geometric. Our first term is 1. Our common ratio is 5. So then we're going to plug in those numbers into our formula. So for geometric, first term is the same, but your common ratio goes before your G. Well, in your arithmetic, the 3 goes after the A. Okay, next one, you go from 10 to 6 to 2 to negative 2. You're subtracting 4. This is arithmetic. Our first term is 5. Our common difference is negative 4. So plug those in. You'll have 10 and then negative 4. Okay, last one, you go from 81 to 27 to 9 to 3. You're clearly multiplying by a fraction. You're multiplying by 1/3. So this is geometric. Our first term is 81. Our common ratio is 1/3. So both of these two numbers get plugged in. G sub 1 is our first term, and then 1/3 goes in front of our G. Okay. Hopefully you guys are kind of getting the hang of this. We're going to go to the back side where we're actually going to have to fully write the formula. So it says determine if the following sequence is arithmetic or geometric, and then write the recursive rule. So you have to make sure you identify whether it is arithmetic or geometric. If you don't do that, you will miss a point. So keep an eye on that, okay? So from negative 6 to negative 3 and then 0 to 3, we're going up by 3. So this is arithmetic. So if I get out, or if I look at the board and see my handy dandy formula, I know I'm going to have a sub 1 equals my first term, which is -6. Then I'm going to put a comma. I'm going to put a sub n equals a sub n minus 1. So all that's going to stay the same. And then my common different goes on the end. So the only thing I put in was this -6 and this +3. And that is the formula. So, I mean, you will be given the formula. You just have to identify, number one, if it's asking for recursive, what type of rule it's asking for, because we will be doing explicit rule. And then where you plug in your first term and your common difference or ratio. Okay, next one we go from 5 to 15 to 45 to 30 to 135. This one you're multiplying by 3. So it is geometric. So I've already identified the information that I need. So I'm going to write my formula. Geometric, I'm going to use a G. So I'm going to have G sub 1 equals my first term is 5. Then I have G sub n equals my R value, which on this one is 3. Then you have your G sub n minus 1. So I replaced my first term and I replaced the 3, which was in front of your G, because that is the common ratio. Okay, going on to the next one. Determine if the following sequence is arithmetic or geometric, and then write the recursive rule for the sequence. So let's figure out our pattern. From 8 to 3 to -2 to -7. We're going down by the same amount. That would be 5. Since we're subtracting, it's arithmetic. So we're going to have a sub 1 equals our first term, which is 8. We're going to have a sub n equals a sub n minus 1, and then minus our common difference. So I replace the 8 right here, and I replace the -5 right here. Okay, next, same thing. Determine if it's arithmetic or geometric, and then write the recursive rule. So from 48 to 24 to 12 to 6, we're multiplying by 1/2. So this is geometric. So we're going to have our G sub 1 equals our first term, which is 48. We're going to have G sub n equals our common ratio, which is 1/2. Then our G sub n minus 1. So we replaced the first term and we replaced our common ratio, and then we have our equation. Okay, so that's it on writing equations for today. We're going to go down and do the matching part, and then we will be finished. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Match the given sequences to their corresponding rules. So the first one, you go from 16 to 4 to 1 to 0.25. So you're multiplying by a fraction. You're multiplying by 1/4. So this has to be geometric, so it has to be B or D. So let's look at our common ratio. This one's 1/4 and this one's 2, so it clearly has to be B. Next one, you're going from 16 to 32 to 64 to 128. You're multiplying by 2. So our other, it has to be geometric, which our other one would be the C, because the ch and the 2. Next one, you're going from 16 to 13 to 10 to 7. You're subtracting by 3. So it's arithmetic. So our true arithmetic, we have +5. Ooh, sorry, you guys. And then this is -3. That's an explicit rule, which we're going to go over next week. So this one has to be D. And then the last one, I'm going up each time, and looks like I'm adding 5 each time, which would correspond with A. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions on this. You guys are going to move on to your homework. And then don't forget we have a quiz tomorrow.